Hey, what's happening? This is Relax Radio with me, Nick, giving you guys company, keeping you entertained. We're keeping you guys up to date with what is happening right now. And yeah, we're talking about a lot of these things that is happening in the UK. And yeah, one of this is welcome back to the show. This is Relax Radio with me, Nick, keeping you guys company and entertained, all the way until 6 p.m. We're talking about all these stuff that is happening right now in the UK. And yeah, we're going to be talking about all these things, with one issue is the green light for the net zero equivalent for nature. Yeah, that's right. We're going to be talking about that, as we go along in the show. We're going to talk about all these things. We're going to touch on a lot of topics. And one of this is also the UK foreign aid cut. Where does it go and what is it used for? Well, those are just some things that we will be discussing. And yeah, and in case you guys are wondering who this is, my name is Nick and I'm keeping you guys company all the way until 3 p.m. That's right. You can always hit me up on our numbers. It is 07852 473 Those are the magic numbers. You can always call us up and WhatsApp me, any of your opinions or your thoughts on the matter. If you guys have anything you want to say, hey, feel free to connect with us. And also, don't forget you can download the app from the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. Carry us all day, every day. That's right. We have a lot of amazing stuff. So you guys make sure you guys check us out. Also on our webpage, which is www.relaxradio.net. And that's right. We're pretty big on social media. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram and like us on our page also on YouTube as well. And with that, getting back to the show, well, we're talking about all these things that is happening right now, and how the UK is having the restrictions being lifted and all of that. And to top it off, ministers are going to step up, the vaccine take-up calls amid the fear of the variant. Yeah, that's right. There has been a variant that has been going on across the UK. It's been plaguing the country right now. The UK has seen surges, especially in places like Bolton, in the greater Manchester area, and all of that. So this is just, some of the relation that the UK is taking it serious. They're taking their job serious. The ministers are taking it serious, and they are going to step up calls for people to book a vaccination. Yeah, COVID vaccination as soon as possible, as soon as they're offered one, amid this whole increasing concern about the Indian variant. So yeah, the health secretary said anyone who was unsure should look at Bolton, where most people in hospital with COVID are eligible for a jab but had not had one. So yeah, most of the people who are in the hospitals in Bolton, most of these individuals rather, they are eligible for the vaccine, but they decided not to get it, or it could be some reason or the other, and it's because of that right now they're in the hospital because they did not get the vaccine. So yeah, this is just a prime example of why people should be getting the vaccine at this crucial time, in my opinion. So what they went on to say is Matt Hancock said 86 local councils had 5 or more cases of this variant. So that's thought to be very, very transmissible. So right now they think, okay, this virus is able to traverse air, and it passes on, from person to person very easily in comparison to the other variants. So yeah, this is just of a rising concern. And yeah, it seems, it comes just as lockdown has been easing up in England. So that's the unfortunate thing about it. All this lockdown has been easing up in England, in Wales, and most of Scotland. And this was back in Monday. So right now the cases are, there's been a rise of cases in this whole Bolton area. And yeah, Yasmin Qureshi, the Labour MP for Bolton South East, challenged the suggestion that her constituents had refused the vaccine, blaming poor organization. Instead, she said, okay, it's not really the people's fault, but rather the government's fault for not organizing it as quick as possible. So more than 36.7 million people have had their first dose of the vaccine in the UK, and more than 20.2 million have had their second dose. So yeah, the NHS website for booking a vaccine is now open to those aged between 36 and over. So if you're above the age groups, well, you're welcome to take the vaccine. You're welcome to book a vaccine, and a vaccine appointment rather, and get yourself your jab. jab, whether it's the first or the second jab, the government right now is encouraging people to get there, come forward, step forward, and get your jabs, because this is very important. Like I said, if you look at the number of people getting infected is increasing in the Bolton area. So next thing you know, it is in one particular area, and then it just spreads to the next. This is something that we want to prevent. We don't want another surge or another lockdown, for that matter. So, Environmental Secretary George Eustace said that the surge testing was taking place in Bolton while the government was keeping a very close eye on the football match at the Old Trafford in Manchester later, where 10,000 fans are expected to gather. That's right. So a lot of these fans are expected to gather in these for the match that will be happening in Manchester later. So yes, he also said, that the more people who are vaccinated, the greater the collective immunity that we have as a population. So Mr. Hancock also said that, that the House of Commons on Monday, he said that there had been 2,323 confirmed cases of the Indian variant across the UK, saying it was now, they are saying that it was now the dominant strain in Bolton and neighboring Blackburn and Darwin as well in Lancaster, and was rising in all the age groups. So yeah, he also said that most people in hospitals in those areas had been eligible for a vaccine, but had chosen not to have it, and urged anyone not sure where to get a jab to look at what's happening in Bolton. That's right. Right now the coronavirus in Bolton, if you look at the statistics, the graph shows, they're over the time span of just a couple of months. The rate that the virus has spread is phenomenal. It's crazy, the number of people getting infected, and this is all just in the past 8 weeks. Lab reports, lateral flow tests, and all of these cases by date, shows that by 8 weeks there has been a trending increase of the number of cases of this variant. So yeah, Ms. Qureshi also argued that the area was initially slow to get the right vaccine rollout. So she's essentially blaming it not on her people, but rather on the deployment of the vaccine, the rollout rather of the vaccine. And she's saying this is how concerning it is. And she also, began to say that the rollout was done in one place in town center with only about 6 vaccinators to cover a huge area and a huge population. They're saying, okay, it's not many people. There's not a lot of people who will help them vaccinate there even. So we're having an issue right now with the rollout and the number of people getting vaccinated. So some people had to use 2 or 3 buses to get into the town center. And she said, a lot of these people were on 0-hour contracts or living in multi-generational homes, and they weren't able to be contacted. So Mr. Hancock has also identified Bedford as another hotspot for the variant. So yeah, Vicky Head, Bedford's Director of Public Health, said that a massive rise in the cases of the Indian variant in what was a very worrying time. So she also went on to say it's really important that people understand that just how quickly the situation can change. And she also said that she's been doing this target, all this is, all the kind of issues, that she's been addressing. She's saying, all right, the situation is not getting better. And she said that they're doing these target testings in school, setting up walk-in clinics for those eligible to get the vaccine, and make sure that the right information was available. We don't want to spread the wrong information and get people all in a humbum. And this is something that they're trying to avoid at all costs. So yeah, the wait for the data though has been starting, and it's begun. People are waiting, and they want to know how effective is this vaccine? Is it effective? Will we actually this one? And how is the transmissibility of the virus? And yeah, data on this variant from India, how quickly it spreads, how many fall seriously ill, and how effective the vaccines are against it are just, it's likely to be done. And, the data on the impact of the latest easing of restrictions in much of Britain, it's likely to be a few weeks before an assessment can be made about what is done next. So the removal of all the remaining restrictions in England is meant to be a little over a month away, but there's a consistent caution from ministers. So yeah, the government is desperate not to overpromise and disappoint many businesses, and some conservative MPs are desperate. The final shackles on our liberties are thrown off on time. So one former Mr. Connor Burns said the country had tolerated the most profound curtailment of our freedom in peacetime, and it wouldn't be right to do so again because some people had refused the offer of a vaccine. So yeah, Professor Stephen Riley, the professor of infectious disease dynamics at the Imperial College London, has said that so far the evidence was that the vaccine was still effective That's what they are saying. That right now they're trying to say that the vaccine is effective, not 100%. It's not 100% there yet, but it does provide some type of protection rather. And this is just another reason, why they're saying you need to get the vaccine, you need to get vaccinated. And yeah, they were saying a lot of this, a lot of the statistics is showing now that is the time, many people, there's been a lot of cases, but a little bit of the wave of the infection right now, and that will give, the best chances of protection. This is just going to give you some kind of protection against this virus. So on Monday, millions of people were able to enjoy new freedoms, such as indoor pints, hugs with loved ones, and foreign holidays for the first time in months. And this is all under the latest relaxation of rules across England, Wales, and most of Scotland. But amid concerns over the variant first found in India, the government has warned its review of social distancing rule set to take place by the end of May. So they may be delayed, and they may not. And this is just another whole issue right now that is going on. And yeah, they're trying to bring the concern. There's been a lot of concern, especially when it comes to this. And like I said, people are enjoying their newfound freedom, and it's just it's horrible. It's even not something ideally you could think of to take away from the people. So yeah, amid all of this concern, about the variant first found in India, the government has warned its next review of social distancing rules set to take place, by the end of may actually be delayed. So the plan was, to implement this whole new social distancing rule. But right now, with the variant spreading like it is at the moment, with areas like Bolton and all of that, it just goes to show that right now the government cannot really make such big changes. So as part of its roadmap out of lockdown, the government's plan was to end all of the remaining restrictions on social contact by the 21st of June. That's right, I'm telling you, on the 21st of June was the set date. It is still the set date, which would mean unlimited numbers of guests at wedding venues such as nightclubs being allowed to reopen. But ministers are, to be considering contingency plans for local lockdowns if the variant cannot be brought under control. And yeah, this is just, another concern that is going on. So the NHS England National Medical Director, Stephen Powis, said yesterday that there have been 930,000 rather appointments made since the vaccination program was open up to 39 and 38 years old. And he encouraged people to accept a jab when they are offered one. And getting vaccinated is the most important step we can take to protect ourselves, our families, and our communities against COVID-19. So when it is, your turn to get your first or second dose, please do so. Do it. I encourage you all to take your vaccine. Make sure if you get the chance, make sure to get vaccinated, because a further 1,976 new cases were reported in the UK alone on Monday. This was back in Monday. This is 2 days ago. 1,976 new cases and another 5 deaths within 28 days of a positive COVID test. So this is just another whole reason why people should even be getting the vaccine, why you should be getting vaccinated. The whole purpose is right now to protect yourself, protect the people around you. And this is just the steps that we need to do. Because if we don't nip this variant under the bud, what's going to happen is it's going to spread like wildfire. It's going to go crazy, and a lot of people will get infected again. And we might even face another lockdown. And this is something now the government wants to dearly avoid at all costs. So make sure you all get your vaccines and make sure you follow the social distancing rules as much as possible. And with that being said, we are going to be taking a real quick break, and we'll be right back after this. call us up like you saw the numbers earlier. It's 07852 473 Feel free, to call us up on those numbers. If you guys want to WhatsApp us, you can always WhatsApp us all as well on those numbers. And also you can, check us out on our web pages. We're on social media. We're pretty big on social media. We're on Instagram. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube as well. So make sure you guys check us out. That's right. We're going all of these. We actually have a lot of great stuff and great content. And you can also check us out on our webpage. That is www.relaxradio.net. That's right. And hey, we're talking about all these things that is happening in the UK. And the Prime Minister right now, what he's saying is he's having more confidence the vaccines work on all of the variants. Like just we were talking about earlier, for him to even make a statement like this, I can see where he's coming from to be saying like, hey, okay, you guys, so the vaccine will work on all variants. He doesn't mean 100% though, because then that's just not proper information. He's providing false information, because if you look at it, it works, but it doesn't. It's not as effective as it would be. When it comes to the variant, when you got to think about these kind of things, for the ministry to be saying something like this is crazy. So yeah, he went on to say, that he's increasing confidence that the COVID-19 vaccines are effective against all kinds of variants, including the Indian one. This is what Boris Johnson has said. So at the Prime Minister's questions, he said fresh data had been reviewed early on Wednesday. So yeah, he's saying on Wednesday we got this information. And he also thanked people in the Indian variant hotspot, Bolton and Blackburn, for getting a jab in record numbers. Like I said, a lot of people went forward and they went to get the vaccine. So that's just, another thing that they are doing, and that's just good news right there. For the people to even be doing something like this is something that we need right now, especially in a situation like this. So the Prime Minister is saying all of these things, and he's saying, okay, it's a good thing that is happening right now, and they're glad that the people are coming forward, stepping forward, and getting their dose of the vaccine. And the Prime Minister also said that the spread of the Indian variant has cast doubt on plans to ease remaining restrictions in England next month. So the Prime Minister's office official spokesperson said that later that Minister Johnson had been referring to data on daily case rates as well as studies published in the UK and elsewhere, which showed high levels of efficacy for the vaccines. He said, however, the ministers would want to see more information before making decisions on the next step towards lifting the lockdown. I mean, I feel like it's a little too rushed if you think about it. I mean, the government is pushing forward a little too much. I feel like they're pushing it to the agenda rather is to push it more forward, because I understand that Boris Johnson wants to keep his word and say, hey, okay, this is what it is. You guys don't have anything to panic about. Don't got anything to worry about. We are gonna make sure that our best are, working with the best scientists across the world, and we're gonna make sure that this virus is gonna be beaten. And you can rest assured that the variant as well will find it difficult, especially when you take the vaccine. It'll be difficult for you to even contract the Indian variant. Well, that I know what he's trying to get at, but at the same time, you have to understand, just because you want to continue the roadmap, you want to get everything out, roadmap completely gone, doesn't mean that people's lives are supposed to be endangered, because we have to take that into consideration as well. For something to be saying something like this is actually, in my opinion, crazy. So they said all of this, and they said there's high levels of efficacy. So until proven data comes, I mean, it's just the spike hasn't been there for quite some time. There's not enough data, in my opinion, for them to be saying something like this. Maybe we'll see how it goes as it goes, but we never really know exactly unless we get a large amount of data over periods, over the time window frame that number of people who've been getting the virus. So this is just some other thing. The Prime Minister's official spokesperson, like I said all this, and they went on to say that the ministers want to see more information for this, and that's right. When you think about it, they need to know more information before they can come to a decision towards lifting this whole lockdown. We can't just lift it all of a sudden and be like, okay, guys, everything's back to normal. Go back to your daily routines. No, it's just not something that will happen right now. That is what the coronavirus taught us. This virus taught us that our lives cannot be the same again after this whole pandemic. So we have to make sure, we come up with proper precautions. We come up with proper methods to safeguard ourselves as well. And to rush things through and say, okay, we're done. The vaccine is a go, and this is 100% thing. It's going to work. Is not yet 100%. It's not sure yet as of yet. I don't know how they're giving a definitive answer like that. So back in Tuesday, the Prime Minister said the situation with the Indian variant, which started to spread more easily, was being closely reviewed, but there was nothing conclusive in the current data. That means England would have to deviate from the roadmap out of lockdown. So this means legal limits on social contact could still end on the 21st of June. So as the PMQs, Mr. Johnson also repeated this, his warning, the Prime Minister's questions. He said that he's warning that people should not be holidaying in amber list countries. So this includes France, Spain, and Greece. And visits to those countries should only be made in, very extreme certain circumstances. Like if you want to see your family, and as a family, they've been getting ill or something like that, you can go and visit these countries. And if people ignore that advice, they could face fines, like I said, of up to £10,000. That's right, £10,000 fine for visiting these amber countries as well, if you don't have a legit reason. So on Monday, the government lifted the ban on international travel. In spite of this, in its place, a traffic light system has been brought up in which, it divides the destination. Essentially, there's destinations that are in the red zone, so that in the red light zone, in the amber light zone, and in the green light zone. So the green light zones are the ones that you can travel to at the moment. The red light zones are places that's a no-go. Nobody, it's like no man's land. You're not supposed to enter there at any cost whatsoever. You're not allowed to travel to those specific countries as well. So yeah, those are just part of the things. And passengers arriving from these amber list countries are required to self-isolate for 10 days and at least take 2 tests. That's right. So this is something that they are supposed to be doing. And passengers, like I said, Mr. Johnson said the government rather was trying to move away from all this endless legislating for everything and rely on guidance and asking people to do the right thing. I mean, he wants people to use your brains. That is what he's trying to tell us. He's like, use your common sense. Make sure you do. If you're gonna do something, make sure you know the full implications of what you are about to do. And he's relying on the people to do. But then at the same time, it doesn't always work because there are always going to be people who don't want to listen, or they think, oh no, it's not something like that. We can travel. We're not going to get the virus or anything, any of that sort. Or some could even say like, okay, you know what? Never mind. We're not going to live forever. So we might as well just go to these countries and visit it. There are people with these kind of mindsets as well. So we got to watch out. And this is what the Prime Minister should be doing. So he's implemented this £10,000 fine. Is crazy. It is a big amount. It is a large amount if you really look at it from a different point of view. And like they're saying all of these things. Hopefully these will work but there's always going to be troublemakers out there as well. So they say that the Prime Minister is saying that there's growing confidence that the vaccine will remain effective against variants that are emerging, and the lab work using blood from vaccinated people to see how well they block the variant virus from infecting cells shows some drop off in potency, and this is what has caused such concern in the recent months. So yeah, people are saying it's not as effective as we think it was, the vaccine against this the new variant, especially this new variant right now, and people they're trying to address this, and they're saying, okay, these are rising concerns because of this. There's been a lot of concerns because of this whole situation right now. And it just goes to show, right, what is going on. So the biggest, like I said, drop off in the recent months is for the South African variant, with early reports suggesting the Indian variant only weakens the vaccine effect a little more than the UK variant does. But the lab work only takes you so far. So emerging real world evidence is what scientists hope the most for. I mean, you can take all of this in the lab, you can use a control, but end of the time, if you think about it, we need real life data from everyday people who are getting the virus, who are contracting the virus, and who are struggling with the illness. These are the numbers that the government needs right now to make a conclusive answer whether or not we should push the lockdown, the roadmap lockdown to another month or 2 months, or should we just lift it all together, is what I'm trying to say as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd love it if we can go outside and enjoy as much as we can, but this virus is something that you cannot avoid. This is not something you can pretend like it never exists. It is existing, it is happening. People are falling sick, people are dying. So we got to make sure that we do our part, we play our part. We're not in a rush for this. I mean, I understand that people are tired and they're exhausted and they're fed up. We're up to this point, we're neck deep in all of this, and we just need to breathe now. And that is ironically what we can't be doing right now at this moment. We can't just carelessly go around and hope for the best, because it's not something that we can do. is something I'm trying to say. So hey, when we think about it, yeah, like I said, all of these things are happening right now, and from the UK rollout, the vaccines are highly effective against the UK variant. So studies in India where AstraZeneca has been also used are also encouraging, although they're yet to be formally published. So right now they are showing, okay, there are, the people in India are taking the AstraZeneca dose, and seems like there has been some promising results, but they've not been formally published as of yet. So it's not a conclusive data. And because, perhaps the most promising data is collected in Qatar on the South African variant. That's, the most promising data so far that we have. And it suggests that the Pfizer vaccine's ability to stop the serious illness remains intact, and there was only a relative small loss in blocking mild infections. I mean, at the same time, Qatar, they say, okay, we have to understand it's about the region of the country as well. Viruses work in a very different kind of way. Maybe it'll be more effective in those countries zone, or maybe the spread is less. We've seen a lot of these trends and graphs and all that. And hopefully this is something that the data can be, this can be reliable data as well. So it suggests, like I said, the Pfizer vaccine can stop all of the variant, the South African variant in Qatar. This is what the data has shown. And in the fight, between the vaccines and variants, it's the vaccines essentially that are winning, is what they're trying to say. So Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer actually said, he's urged the Prime Minister to scrap the new hopeless system, which he says has been accompanied by confused and contradictory messages. And he also told the Commons many people are now traveling to amber list countries, but the government could not say how many or when. So we are an island nation, and we have the power to stop this. So why doesn't the Prime Minister drop this hopeless system, get control of our borders, and introduce a proper system that can protect against the threat of the future variant of the virus? This is something, that makes you wonder. Yeah, it gets you scratching your head and wondering, yeah, doesn't it make sense? It does make sense. If you look at it from that point of view, it is totally arguable. People can argue all they want and give all kinds of facts, supporting their claims, and all of these facts will not be, supported, because when you think about it, we are an island. That is right. That is correct. We are an island. We, as a country, can control the people and number of people who travel in and out of our borders. I mean, it's just crazy, for them to be even allowing people to go to these amber countries as well. So, meanwhile, EU ambassadors are recommending that restrictions on travel into the EU should be relaxed for fully vaccinated people and those from countries with low infection rates. So yeah, decision on whether the UK will be included on the so-called white list will be made on Friday. So yeah, Portugal, Italy, and Greece have already dropped quarantine restrictions for British travelers, and Spain is expected to make an announcement in the coming days. So yeah, Portugal, like I said, is the only EU country currently on the UK's own green list, allowing travelers to return without going into quarantine. But even then, even after that, you've got to remember, just because you can visit countries like Portugal, you got to remember that you need to get vaccinated. I mean, you need to make sure as well, when you go there, you're gonna go undergo a lot of these lateral flow tests and all of that. So these are just some of the things that you should be expecting when you go. It doesn't mean, but on the good news is, on return, you don't have to self quarantine for 12 days or 10 days. It doesn't matter. It's not required for people who come to these green list countries. And yeah, hopefully this is something that can proceed forward, and hopefully we can reduce the number of cases when it comes to the vaccine. Let me know more if you guys have any thoughts on this matter and what actually Boris Johnson should be doing. And you can call us up on those numbers. It is 07852 473 473. Those are the magical numbers. And with that being said, we are going to be taking a real quick break. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to the show. This is Relax Radio with me, Nick. Keeping you guys company and entertained, and keeping you up to date with what is going on across the globe. That's right. There's a lot actually going on in the UK per se. If you look at things, there, a lot of these things right now is, being talked about. There's a lot of speculation with the whole coronavirus situation and all of that, jazz that is happening across the nation. So yeah, this is just some of the things that is happening right now. And yeah, if you look at the situation, especially when it comes to the other countries, France and Austria also have started opening bars as their lockdowns have been easing up. That's right. These are things that is happening right now, and it's crazy if you look at the things that is going on across the globe and across Europe, not only Europe, but all the other parts of the world as well. And yeah, these are just, some of the things that the world is right now addressing. Like the whole coronavirus situation, what people have to understand is we got to be safe. We got to make sure we stay safe as well. With the situation going as it is right now, it is one of the most important times for us to be safe. So yeah, all of these things are getting crazier as we go along. Hopefully people can be safe, and hopefully we don't spread the virus as it is. We don't want to see another surge in the country. And yeah, taking a look at other things that is pressing matters, right, actually, that is happening in the UK. Just 20 farms behind more than half of single-use plastic waste. This is a study. So it's just 20 companies are the source of more than half of the single-use plastic items thrown away globally. That is crazy when you think about it. 20 companies. I can count all of those fingers all those numbers in my hands, in my body, like 10, 20, just 20 companies in the world produce more than half of all the single-use plastic items thrown around globally. I mean, I just got to let that sink in, thinking about it. Half of the pollution of plastic pollution across the world is just 20 companies doing it. So that's the conclusion of these analysts of the corporate network behind plastic production. So yeah, the study looked at approximately 1,000 factories that make the raw material needed for single-use products. So plastic bottles, food packages, and bags are among billions of items that are they're used just once and are thrown away, often ending up in the ocean. So yeah, the research carried out by a consortium, including the London School of Economics, looked at which companies are at the base of the plastic supply chain and make polymers the building blocks of all the plastics. So yeah, it names 20 petrochemical companies, which says are the source of the 55% of the world's single-use plastic. Where that's also not even 50; it's 55%. So yeah, these companies include a lot of big companies like Dow, Sinopec, ExxonMobil, and all of these companies. So yeah, the study also assesses which countries generate most single-use plastic waste based on per head of the population. So yeah, the UK comes in fourth with more than 40 kilos of plastic waste generated per person per year, the author stated, while Australia is top and the United States is second. Yeah, so part of the increase in demand for plastic stems from the need for masks and other protective and medical equipment to deal with the corona crisis. So yeah, if you think about it, these right now, the number one single-use purposes, when you think about it, is the issue comes up today is the masks. That's right. When you talk about masks and all of that, it's just one-time use. You use the mask one time and it's done. You don't use it again. You don't further yourself to be using it again, because it's the whole point of the mask is to keep it used for one time and then you're done with it. That's it. So I guess I can understand why the numbers are crazy right now and why the UK is at number 4 when you compare to their other counterparts like the United States and Australia as well. So like I said, all of this increase of single-purpose plastic is due to the COVID crisis. So yeah, previous research has focused on the impact of these plastic waste on the natural world or on the consumer companies making and selling consumer products packaged in plastic. So yeah, by contrast, forecast. This analysis rather tracks the flow of plastic through the supply chain, starting with the manufacturers of basic ingredients that go into making single-use items. So yeah, those ingredients known as polymers are mostly produced by processing fossil fuels, including oil, gas, and coal. So yeah, the research was led by Australia's Mindero Foundation and a consortium including the LSE market researchers Wood Mackenzie and the Stockholm Environment Institute. So yeah, US-based ExxonMobil is the biggest producer of this single-use plastic, and this is all following a report followed by Dow, Sinopec, Indroma Ventures, the Saudi Arabia Aramco, PetroChina, Lindadel, and all of these big names right now. And yeah, these are just some of the companies that are involved in all the single-use plastic production. So according to the foundation's director of finance and transparency, Dominic Charles, the research highlights how the future of the plastic waste crisis is in the hands of these just 20 companies. Just 20 companies are holding the balance of this whole plastic situation. And he says, it's an extraordinary point of leverage for regulators, for finance institutions to influence them in order that rather than producing fossil fuels, they produce plastics that's recycled. So that's what they want to encourage right now. And he says, it's an extraordinary point, like I said, of a leverage. And they also add that until the emphasis of efforts to curb plastic pollutions has been on the individual choices that consumers can make. But we need to go after the tap. We need to go after the big fish is what they are addressing. We need to go after the big guns. And these are the people who are involved in this. And these are these 20 companies. When you look at it, these 20 companies are the companies in. And yeah, it's just crazy, when you think about all these, like 20 companies that are producing 55% of the plastic across the globe. That's crazy. So yeah, these are just some of the things that they can do away. And yeah, they need to go after the tap. We need to turn off the tap of these fossil fuel plastics, and we need to create plastics from recycled material. So the report finds that plastic production is set to expand by 30% in the next 5 years, increasing carbon emissions as well as creating more plastic waste. So yeah, one of the contributors is Professor Sam Fankhauser, a specialist in climate change economics at the University of Oxford and the London School of Economics. All of this is happening. So he observed, our reliance on oil and gas is not only fueling climate change, but as the primary material used in the production of throwaway plastics, also devastating our oceans. So we're not only just increasing the amount of plastic pollution that we're doing, and increasing the temperature of the world rather when it comes to global warming, we are also polluting the ocean. We're destroying the ecosystem and the environment in the ocean. So yeah, it's critically important. Petrochemical companies move towards circular economy-based alternatives if you're going to successfully tackle these interlinked crises. So the benefit offers are transformative and hugely beneficial, not only for our environment and ecosystems, but also the communities living with the realities of plastic pollution. The holy grail of all of this, though, is the largest producer of plastic polymers. ExxonMobil say it shares society's concern about plastic waste. I mean, that's the irony of it. They say this, but then at the same time, they still produce one of the greatest amounts of plastic, single-use plastic across the globe. And yeah, they say in a statement, it said, ExxonMobil is taking an action to address plastic waste by increasing plastic recyclability and supporting improvements in plastic waste recovery. For example, through our funding membership in the Alliance to End Plastic Waste and minimizing the plastic pellets lost from our operations. So yeah, we're also looking on advanced recycling options, that they're going to create and capture value from plastic waste with opportunities for lower overall greenhouse gas emissions over the full life cycle of the plastic. So another largely polymer another producer is Ineos, which was also asked for their comment. Well, according to their website, the company is working on ways to chemically recycle plastic, adding that the holy grail of the plastic recycling is fast becoming a reality and will mean that we can reduce our reliance on fossil fuels to make our products. So yeah, it comes as Greenpeace reported yesterday that plastic waste collected for recycling from British households had been found dumped in Turkey. Yeah, this is just another, when it comes to pollution. This is just another situation right now. In case you guys are wondering what this is all about, yeah, there was wastes found out in Turkey rather, and yeah, people were complaining about this whole thing, and they were saying about how the wastes in England moved to Turkey and how it polluted their country as well. And this is just some of the things that is happening, and hopefully the government can find an alternative to this, and they can find ways to muster up the ways, different ways to combat this, to fight this whole situation. And yeah, it's crazy, with what the situation right now is going. If you look at things across, especially the globe right there, it just goes to show, what is going on, and it's crazy stuff. When you think about all of these things, especially when it comes to plastic use, like I said, it's just these 20 companies that are involved in this. And yeah, if we can, if they can work towards making sure that not enough of making sure that we can make plastic recyclable, well, we can find a better piece for this. I mean, hopefully this is just another situation that we can avoid, another problem actually we can avoid in the time, for the time being. This is some of the things that is going on, and hopefully this is something that we can do. It's just another thing, like I said, that is going on. And yeah, like we were talking about, Turkey and plastic from Turkey. There was a lot of these plastics from Turkey, and all these plastics originally from the UK, and they're being dumped into Turkey. And this is all according to Greenpeace. So, what happens to your plastic waste? When you recycle it? Well, a new report from the environmental charity Greenpeace has shown that some of it is dumped in countries like Turkey, Malaysia, and Poland, and then burned. So, according to research, around 40% of the UK's plastic, that's around 210,000 tons, was shipped to Turkey last year. So that's about the same as 50. Let's give it on to paint you a picture. That's 55,000 hippos. That's right. So 210,000 tons. So yeah, the charity said it checked 10 different locations in southern Turkey and found that plastic bags and packaging from the UK supermarkets and shops are all at all of them. So yeah, as well as packaging from a coronavirus antigen test showing that the waste was less than a year old. So yeah, Greenpeace has called the government to take control of the problem and want them to ban plastic waste exports and reduce single-use plastic by 50% by 2025. So this is just some of the things that is actually going on. So according to the report, more than half of the plastic waste that the government says is recycled is actually sent to other countries or is exported. So what it does is it's actually beating the purpose of uptake of the wastes. So what we want is we want to recycle it, but the government says, okay, we're going to recycle it, but they're not exactly following through. They're not exactly recycling it as we think. It's most of it is being exported to countries like Turkey, and yeah, it just goes to show Malaysia, Turkey, Poland. These are just some of the countries to name a few that are taking the plastics from our country. So around 50% of this plastic waste we export is made up of mixed plastic. So that's styrene or polyvinyl chloride or the PVC materials that are not easily or widely recycled. So yeah, last year around 688,000 tons of plastic wastes were exported, and that's an average of 1.8 million kilos a day. So while only 486,000 tons were actually recycled in the UK. So yeah, this is all according to the Environmental Agency's National Packaging Waste Database. That's right. They came up with this, and they came forward with these data and this analysis that showed all of this. And they showed like 1.8 million of this kilos of a day of this was being exported, and only 486,000 tons were actually being recycled right here in the UK. So the countries that received the most plastic waste from the UK in 2020 were Turkey, received 209,000 tons of this. So that's like 39% of the plastic they've exported. And Malaysia has received 65,000 tons, that's 12%. And Poland has received 38,000 tons, and that is 7% of their plastic waste. So around 241 truckloads of plastic waste come to Turkey every day from across Europe, and it overwhelms us, said Nihan Timiz, the biodiversity project lead from Greenpeace Mediterranean, based in Turkey. And they said under UK and EU rules, it is illegal to export plastic waste unless it is being recycled or burned in an under energy from waste plant. So, however, though, there has been shown that Greenpeace has found that evidence that plastic wastes from the UK has been burned at illegal rubbish sites in Turkey and Malaysia. So why is this such a big problem? Why is this such a big concern for matters? Well, the illegal dumping of the rubbish can cause lots of problems from the environment, such as polluting the ocean and impacting the health of local people and wildlife as well. So yeah, the plastic waste, such as the carrier bags, can be mistaken for food by some ocean creatures as well. Animals like whales or birds, who might eat it and then they can't digest this plastic, meaning their stomach becomes full, so they don't have room for actual food. So each year, 100,000 animals in the sea are likely killed by these plastics. I mean, it's terrible if you think about it. The whole situation right now, it is terrible when you think about it. So why has this happened, and what has the other countries done about this? Well, until January 2018, China accepted the most of the world's plastic waste. However, due to plastic scrap that was not 99.5% pure. So this meant that the amount of plastic waste accepted by China from the UK fell by a whopping 94%. So 94% of our waste, where we couldn't even export it. And as a result of this, many of the world's countries, including the UK, decided to send their plastic waste to other places instead, with Turkey, Malaysia, and Poland accepting the majority. However, many of these countries are now at breaking point and have started to introduce bans and new rules on what they want and what they will accept. So, like I said, when you think about it, the UK was exporting most of our plastic to countries like China. And China, after they put on this new rule, 99.5% of the plastics need to be this pure. It fell by 94%, our export of plastic to China. So China did not accept most of our plastic. That's 94%. That is a huge margin. That is a marginally huge margin right there. And many of these countries now, like I said, are at their breaking point because of this plastic use. So last year, Malaysia's government sent back 150 shipping containers of illegally imported plastic waste to the countries that came from 42 which belong to the UK. So yeah, former Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Yao Beijing, said the move was to ensure the Southeast Asian nation did not become the garbage dump of the world. I mean, the country is trying to avoid being labeled something like that. And in 2020, the Turkish government announced that a ban on importing many types of plastic waste would come into effect from the 1st of January 2021. So this includes a ban on mixed plastics, as well as any plastic that have undergone mechanical treatment, as well, as this recycling factories in Turkey will now only accept half of their plastic waste from foreign imports, down from 80%. So what has the government said about this? Well, the UK government, how are they even addressing this? The government said that the UK is a global leader in tackling plastic pollution. I mean, the irony is hard to miss by when you think about this situation. For them to even be saying that, announcing that, is just something that's really hard to miss. And they say, that we are clear that the UK should handle more of its plastic at home, and that's why we are committed to banning the export of plastic waste to non-OECD countries and clamping down on illegal waste exports, including to countries such as Turkey, through tougher controls, said the UK Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs. So our proposals our proposals for extended procedure responsibility for packaging. So a plastic packaging tax and a mandatory electronic waste tracking will boost recycling routes and reduce waste and cut down on the crime. So what changes do the Greenpeace want? Well, the Greenpeace has said that they want the UK government to use its power to ban plastic waste exports by no later than 2025. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to align ourselves to the net zero carbon waste that we're producing, that the UK is aiming to get to by the time 2050 hits. And to do that, we have to reduce the amount of single-purpose plastics. We need to stop using plastics, and we need to adopt new things. For instance, steel straws are some of the things that we could start adopting. That a straw you can continuously use again repetitively, and it's not a single-purpose use. Like, you don't take it for one time and then you throw it away. So this is just some of the things, example of what are the things that we can do. And when you think about it, countries like Turkey have been taking a lot of our waste. 39%. Think about it. After China stopped accepting most of our plastic waste. What happened is Turkey takes 39%, and most of this is illegal. So yeah, this is just some of the things that is being said. And as well, like I said, they're planning to reduce. The Greenpeace wants to reduce the exports of plastic export rather by no later than 2025. And as well as this, they want to use the environment bill to set off official targets to reduce single-use plastic by 50% by 2025. So they also want to introduce a deposit return scheme similar to the ones used in Germany and Norway. So in Norway, the shoppers pay a decent deposit on every bottle, the equivalent of 10 pence to 25 pence, depending on the size. And then when the bottle is empty, they post it a special machine which gives them a coupon for the money that they've spent on the deposit. So this has led to 90% of plastic bottles being recycled, whereas in the UK, just over half of the plastic bottles are being recycled. So this is just another way that they can encourage the general population to develop these good habits as well. So when you buy a bottle, you'll have to pay a small deposit. So once you're done with the bottle, you can make sure to return it again. And once you do return it, you do get money from that. So this is just some of the things that they're trying to impose as well in the UK. Hopefully, this is something that can fall through. Let's see how it goes. We never know what the future might hold in store for us. And with that being said, we are going to be taking a real quick break, and we'll be right back after this.